Made it. Yeah, it's working.
Yay! Well, welcome everybody. I think we should probably get started. Mary, it's such a delight. I'm going to gush here for a minute because I'm just so excited to be here with you. And just recently, Shane and I saw you at the Fox when you were performing, so that was such a special treat for us.
It was a special treat for us to be in such a gorgeous theater. You guys are so lucky to have the Fox. It's so beautiful.
Oh yeah, it was. That was real. I'll never forget that show. It was really incredible. Yeah. And then we didn't have any idea when we went that you were going to be in there, and I was like, wait, what? And so we just had a wonderful time.
Great.
And your performance was excellent. We just really enjoyed it. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah. And how's the show been so far? How's everything been here?
It's been great. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for your love and attendance to our show. It's been really good. We've really had fun, and the guests that we have to this time, it's nice because we see each other. Some of us see each other from show to show, so it's like the only time we get to really get together. So like Diane and I are trying to figure out a little dinner get together when we get back to LA and stuff. So yeah.
Oh well, good. I'm so glad. I think you have many adoring fans here. They're just so excited to hear from you and hear some of your stories.
It's good.
Yeah. I presume the theme of this whole panel was to talk about more of the Rod Serling experiences, but I think there were some of the guests here that didn't get to hear anything about To Kill a Mockingbird, so maybe we could talk about.
Maybe just open it up to questions.
Yeah, sure. Did anybody have? There was a great question about.
That was not a great question.
I thought it was cute, actually.
What was your question?
Yeah, I thought it was sweet.
How were Gregory Fripp's hugs?
Oh, fabulous. I mean, Atticus was just so great. He was such a great daddy and such a good role model. You know, he really helped me figure out what I wanted out of my life. And when I looked for a husband, what I wanted out of a husband. He just was so caring, and he loved to laugh. So he had a great sense of humor, and he's very energetic, and I've loved him a lot. Yeah, we stayed friends for our whole lifetime. I mean, I was up at the house just a few weeks before he passed away. I wasn't able to see him because he was too ill, but I had a nice little visit with the family and stuff. But whenever he was going anywhere, if he was going to be someplace and I had time off from work or whatever, then he would send me a plane ticket, or if he was going to be near where I lived, he would send a car. One day he came to get me at work. I was working at a dress shop, and there's these older ladies, and this was kind of an upscale dress shop. And so it was divided into two shops, because one side was the dresses, and then the other side was all the jewelry and stuff to hook stuff up with. So I was working over there. So I had already asked for time off for lunch, and I told him I might be a little late getting back, and one of the older ladies says, like, no problem, I'll take care of your section. So Atticus gets out. Well, first the limo pulls up, and I hear one of the ladies go, gosh, there's a limo out front. I wonder who that is. The next thing I hear is, oh my God, it's Gregory Fripp. He comes up and he knocks on the window. I thought those ladies were going to have a stroke, and I was like, bye, gone to lunch. It's unbelievable. And the next day I come to work and they're just like, it was just insane. It was fun. It was fun.
Oh, that's great.
Any other questions?
Yeah. What was
Yes.
good?
Ms. Badham, some follow-up questions to your lecture yesterday.
Yeah.
My hearing's not the best, so I apologize in advance. The story about the Klan that came, was it for a judge that they came on horseback? With the story that you related yesterday?
The story I related yesterday was my great-grandfather.
It was a great-grandfather that
Right,
they
and
came
he was
for.
a lawyer.
And what time period are we looking at? Just out of curiosity.
18 something. I don't know the exact
Yeah,
date. I'd
yeah.
have to look in my brother's book. But yeah, I mean, my father even put that in his book that he wrote. And for those of you who were all of you present yesterday or not? Okay. My great-grandfather was a lawyer, and he got a case very similar to Kill a Mockingbird's case. And he worked the case. Well, the KKK didn't like that, and they rode up to his house on their horses, and they were all hooded and all that stuff. And they were going to tar and feather him and burn his house to the ground. But Granddaddy noticed the horses that they were on. He knew each one of them because horses are very individual. I mean, you see a horse out in the field, what's Joe's horse doing in my pasture? You know, you can see them, they're very individual. And he called them all by name. He knew who they were. Well, that really didn't go down too well. But he backed them off because he brought them back to the reality because he had helped almost every single one of them. Because back in those days, if you were a lawyer, you handled, in a tiny town like that, you handled all kinds of cases, whether it was land transfers or getting tax assessment stuff done, or all that kind of basic everyday stuff that lawyers would handle that. So he had helped everybody, and the fact that they would ride up to his house and threaten him was amazing, that he was able to talk them out of it. But the upshot of it was that they had to leave. My grandfather and grandmother had to leave and go from Arkansas back to North Carolina. And at that time, that must have been Civil War period because they had to go through enemy lines. Right. And that was very dangerous. So it was my grandmother in a covered wagon she had a total of 10 children, but I think at that point in time they only had 8 children. I'd have to look back at the numbers. And she had 5 female slaves with her. But I think they were all female. I can't remember. Anyway, but they made it back to North Carolina, and all the kids made it. They all lived to a ripe old age, and but none of them would talk about the trip. They wouldn't discuss it.
So this incident took place in Arkansas?
This incident took place in Arkansas.
Right.
And then they traveled to North Carolina.
Right.
And then from North Carolina, I guess, they how the family ended up in Alabama, I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look at the history. But that KKK incident just really, it was amazing because our cousin, who was a professor at one of the colleges, she called my father, or wrote to my father, because she didn't really telephone then, but she wrote to my father when I got the part in the film, and they were asking, did the movie people know about this case, thinking that it was based on this case, but it wasn't. It was a different case. There were so many cases like this. I mean, there were hundreds of them. So, and now we're getting the same thing happening again. Unfortunately.
When you were so young, had you heard anything about your great-grandfather in this case? It was just...
No, this all was much, much later. I was an adult by the time I learned about this, because it was when I was away at school that my father started writing his book, and he had been doing research for a long time because he wanted to do a book. so that his children would understand what our history was. And so when we were doing Mockingbird, I don't even think we got a complete script. And the reason being that children and females were it was deemed not proper for them to be exposed to certain things. Okay. So like when there was the courtroom scene going on, you'll see us up in the balcony, but there was nothing going on down in the courtroom. During Tom's testimony, that we were not present. My mom was there, and my mom related to me what happened. Bob Mulligan was up on the boom, okay, with the camera, and it was a rehearsal. And because Brock was so incredible, he did this to start the camera because he got a standing ovation. It was that perfect. It was that incredible. He made everybody cry. It was just brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah. Brock Peters was one of the greatest actors we ever had. And such a fabulous person. We have a symphony program that I do with Gary Gackstetter out of Kansas. And I used to do it by myself. And what it was he would play music with the symphony orchestra, pieces from Mockingbird. There's like 8 pieces, I think. And so I told him, I tell little stories in between the pieces of music, not the retelling of Mockingbird, but just little behind the scenes stories, like during the music where the roll in the tire, I tell about the boys decided they had enough of me and they were just going to kill me. So Philip took the tire, Philip Alford, who played Jim, took the tire, and what you don't see is off to the side there's a utility truck, and he rolled it right into that utility truck. Oh well, too bad, so sad, I'm still here. So little stories like that, and the audience really enjoyed it. But I said, my memories are so minuscule compared to Philip and to Brock Peters, who were older and would have more fun memories. So we invited them to join our little band, and they did. And it was so much fun because like Brock told this story about Jim Anderson, who played Mayella's father, and Mayella's father was just so fun, right? And Jim Anderson was a method actor. I mean, everybody here knows what a method actor is, right? So from the minute he came on set, he was Mayella's daddy. And so he comes up to Gregory Peck, and Brock said he got about this far from his face. And he's like, do we have children in here? No. Okay. You don't show me. And it's like, really? I said, what did Atticus do? And he said, he just shrugged his shoulders and walked away from him. And I was like, that's such an Atticus thing to do, And so, but he scared everybody to death because he came off as this, racist, bigoted, horrible human being who was just filled with anger and malice. And so he scared all of us. I was terrified of him. And Brock said when he walked past him, the look he gave him, it made the hair all over his body just stand up. He said it just really gave him the willies, which is exactly what he wanted, because that feeds into his character. And I understand that teaching, but I don't know.
I couldn't do it. No, I think it's too much of an emotional toll.
Thank you. Exactly. Well put. Yes. Any other questions? Yes.
Ms. Badham, another follow-up to your another story that you related yesterday, I think it was, and that is when you went in the aftermath of Katrina.
Yeah.
You went to New Orleans. So again, my apologies because my hearing is not good, so I couldn't quite catch all of it.
Right.
You were obviously, I know there was no one, everything was deserted.
Right.
No birds were chirping.
Yeah.
Were you with others? Were you in a group? Were there others beside you that went in?
There was myself, the insurance agent, and my boss. And I was driving the Suburban.
3 people?
3 people.
Oh, wow.
And we had the only food and water and electricity and phone service was up in Baton Rouge. So we drove down, that's where our hotel was. And we drove down into New Orleans to retrieve artwork that had been damaged in Katrina. We had to retrieve it from out of the homes that it was in. And it was amazing because we had gone into New York after Trade Tower and on 9/11 and retrieved artwork. Well, we were supposed to retrieve artwork, but there was nothing left. We lost clients in that. So
Oh no, it's okay. You've been around for some incredible tragedies.
Yeah.
And you've had. I didn't really know this because I didn't know much about your transition from an incredible performing artist to entering this art world.
yeah.
What was your? You had. I mean, you're in film canon. As far as like one of the most important, I can't tell you how many little girls, including myself, thought you just the most amazing, wonderful, tomboyish. Like I grew up with brothers, so to have
Yeah, I did too.
yeah, so to have this like I can just see myself in your shoes and like this wide-eyed wonder and just this curiosity of just being this. A child,
Yeah.
right? It's just
Being a real child.
a real child,
Yeah.
and this is just from what I've been able to discern from just sort of reading about it is how much you must have impressed those that were giving an audition, you know, and how real your performance is, and to have this incredible career,
Yeah.
and then you're called to do art restoration.
Yeah, that was just, the art restoration was just a tiny portion of my life because I had done everything. I worked my first job was a florist job where I answered the phone and took orders for the flower shop. But I worked for the American Red Cross as an instructor for CPR and all the land classes. I did book work. I did so many different kinds of jobs. I cleaned houses. I worked for a restaurant as a cook for a while. Just a little bit of everything. And those jobs helped me so much because I got to know all different kinds of people. I learned different jobs. I learned what I want to do and what I never want to do again. I'm a certified nursing assistant. I did that because my parents had already passed away, but I did it to take care of my parents-in-law. But they were typical Yankees and didn't want me to have anything to do. It was too much for them. So they ended up hiring people. But it did help me with overseeing the staff that we did have to take care of my parents-in-law. So, yeah.
invaluable.
But I worked for the college as a testing center coordinator and ran the glacier program for a while and equine program for a while. So yeah, I did a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
And it was great because I've met so many different kinds of people. And when you're an actor, that's nourishment for future characters and stuff. And so when the call came to do another film, I was like, okay. And I read the script, and it kind of took off from there. And that was our very own. Our director was Cameron Watson, who was absolutely brilliant. And that was lots of fun. And Keith Carradine was there. And so I did that. And then it's been just little things here and there. More projects have come along. I just finished a film, Was Once a Hero, that's out on streaming now. So yeah, it's fun.
What an incredible journey. You've done all kinds of neat things.
Yeah.
Wow. Anybody have any questions from these just few stories that we just heard that I might not have thought to ask about? You're just enthralled, yes.
I was reading one of my many books about the Twilight Zone, and they were mentioning some problems that y'all had on the Bewitchin pool.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember exactly what it was. You just like couldn't finish on time, or
It was dubbing, I think.
It was the dubbing problems because we did so much filming outdoors, and we were over at MGM, and it's near the airport for the small planes, and we kept having small planes flying over. Plus, they were building the set for Cleopatra, so we would get saws and hammers, and you'd be sitting there ready to go, and you'd get started, and then up, cut, stop, and we'd have to wait, and wait.
it's crazy.
So yeah, it was very difficult. And the pond area over there was very small, so we had to be very careful. And the pool area was the same way. So we had like different times, different days where we would have to work. And so when we finally wrapped, and they were able to look at the footage and get it all edited together, there was a lot of problems with the sound, and they couldn't call me back because they had already shipped me back to Alabama. And back then, a ticket from Alabama to California would run you like $1,200 or better for one way, not to mention round trip. And when you're working with children in film, you have to have what they call student welfare workers that have the children. So whenever they are on set, or if they're doing dubbing or whatever, that student welfare worker has to be present in the state of California. So the whole thing would have cost them so much money. So it was easier just to pick up the phone and call June Foray, who was just up the street, and say, June, can you come down and do some dubbing work for us? So my claim to fame is that I had Rocket J Squirrel do my dubbing. And I met June Foray. Does anybody know June Foray? Have you ever seen her? She's adorable. She's only like 4 foot. I mean, she's gone now, but she was like 4 feet tall. I was over at the Academy one night watching a film, and this woman came up on the elevator, and the person I was with was like, oh, June, Mary, June Foray, she did your voice, and it was so great to meet her. She was just so sweet. So that's how everybody complains about the voice on there, and it was because June had to do it.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, what a fascinating story. When you after that episode, what happened for you after that? With you go back to Alabama.
I went back to, between each piece of work, back to Alabama. And then, let's see, when did this property is condemned? Property came up after Twilight Zone and the Dr. Kildare. And so Bill, I came back for This Property is Condemned, and that was all shot like in Mississippi. We were in Gulfport, Mississippi, basically. That's where the railroad tracks were, in the big old hotel where we were. Excuse me. And then when I finished that, I went back to LA because that's where we had to go back to LA to Paramount to finish all the interiors. So all the sets were there. And so we wrapped on that, and then Bill Castle called, and he wanted me to come over for Let's Kill Uncle to try out for that. And Bill Castle, did any of you, are you familiar with Bill Castle's work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very much so.
He was a treasure. He really was. He was amazing. And I was mortally terrified because I come in, he was in one of the bungalows on the lot at Universal. And you come in, and there was like the secretary's office, and then a restroom area, and then his office area. And it was walnut paneling and that maroon leather furniture, the big wing chair and everything. And Bill was a big guy with a big cigar and everything. And he was just such a teddy bear. I thought he was going to be this big scary monster, but he wasn't. He was really lovely human being and was very gentle with us and very kind. So we had a lot of fun. He was like, you want to make it rain? You want to have fire? You want to have, whatever. You don't say that to Pat Carty, because Pat Carty was, he just loved writing scripts and making movies and doing stuff. And so he made it all happen. We had a lot of tarantulas, real tarantulas. And I'm kind of arachnophobic, so I didn't really care for that. But yeah, it was fun. It was great fun making Uncle. I really liked that. The scariest part was when I had to go in the pool with the shark. That was kind of scary because we had this pool and you had the doors, and I had to run out and jump in the pool, and they had this black water with all this like cork and stuff in the water. And in the water also was this trap that carried the fin for the shark. And it was on like a bicycle track, okay? And they said, be careful, don't jump beyond this point, because we don't want you to get involved in the trap, right? Okay. So I come through the doors, I jump in the pool, I start screaming and carrying on, and somewhere along the line they called cut, but I didn't hear it because I was making so much racket. It wasn't until I saw like people running towards the pool that I realized, oh, did you call cut? And they were like, oh my God. They thought I had gotten hung up in the track. But I just didn't hear cut, but luckily they were able to get it in one take, and we didn't have to go there again, because I was not going back in that pool if I could help it. It was not any place I wanted to be. Anything else? Yes.
Ms. Badham, I find your life extremely fascinating. My question to you is, have you written your autobiography, and if not, do you intend to?
I would like to, but it's finding time. To write a book, you have to have time. You have to have diligence in sitting down every day I don't type, so I'd have to write it out. Somebody else would have to edit it and type it up. If they can read my scrawl. I would love to write a book. I have so many hundreds of stories that I would love to share with everyone.
Yes.
But I'm a busy person. I'm a very busy person. I do not stay still long, and sometimes I don't even stay in the same state. But when I'm home on the farm, I'm usually in my gardens working. I have about 4 acres of gardens that I tend, and it's just me. So, and I have my driveway's like 3/4 of a mile long, and I have to keep that up. So, like last week, I was shoveling stones. So, it's like when I'm home, I'm extremely busy. When I'm on the road, I'm doing this stuff or doing a film or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know when. I keep picking at it. I thought when I was on the road doing Mockingbird play that I'd be able to get some done, but I just didn't. I got some pages done, but you know, it takes time to write a book. You have to really be on task, and I'm not there yet.
Oh no, that's not an easy ask to
Yeah.
start talking about yourself in your own head
Yeah.
to then start getting it all down.
Well, I think things like this, you know, when I do Q&As, that's so helpful. If I could get like a lot of the Q&As back that I've done through the years, that would help because it triggers those memories, which helps me to spit out what happened. But like you said, when you're by yourself, it's a
You're
little
like, yeah,
different.
I'm in my own head all the time. I don't get around about that. I get that.
But I'd like to have it for my children and my grandchildren, you know, because
Are they in California? with
No,
you?
they're in, my daughter lives outside of Nashville, Tennessee. She's a commercial interior designer. And so she's there, and my one granddaughter is a cheerleader, so we're doing cheer. If any of you guys have cheer kids, and you know what we're up to with that. And my other granddaughter is really sharp and wants to be a lawyer. And she'll make a good one because she can talk her way out of just about anything. she's very, very good and very smart. Both the girls, thank God, are very intelligent and very good at their schoolwork. And my grandson is a firefighter, and so he's been in fire camp for a long time, and now I hope that he'll stay safe out there fighting fires that we're dealing with now. So, but they're all good kids, and they've done very well in their schoolwork, and I'm so proud of them
Oh,
all.
that's wonderful. Do you get to, since you're mostly West Coast and they're East Coast?
Well,
or-
I'm actually East Coast.
Oh, you're East Coast. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. I just figured.
I go to California just to visit. My
Okay.
brother's out there.
I see.
But I'm in Virginia.
Okay.
Our farm is in Virginia.
Gotcha.
So, we raise corn and soybeans. Most of the time we have a farmer that takes care of all of that. And I just have my flowers and my veggies. So this year I did my first
Have you been to our
veggie.
botanical gardens here? Have
I
you? Oh,
don't
you
know
did.
whether I have or not.
Oh, that's great.
I wanted to go this trip, but there wasn't time for me to go. Because that's usually the first thing I do when I get into a city is that I check for the botanical gardens. And I think when we were here at the Fox, I
Yeah.
think I did go to the botanical gardens, but until I see them, I'd have to look it up to see. And I knew there wasn't going to be time enough this time to go, and today it's raining. So.
Yes. Yeah. There were any other questions that came to mind? Shane?
Yeah, so that, how much of touring was involved with that production of To Kill a Mockingbird that we just recently saw? You know?
We were on the road for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
'Cause I seem to remember it being a pretty arduous looking schedule. But
Yeah,
wow,
it
2.5.
was pretty tough. I mean, there were times like where you would be in one place for 2 days, another place for 2 days, and there may be 2 shows per day. And when you have 2 shows a day, it takes it out of you. It takes it out of the whole crew. And that was not an easy set.
Oh no, there was
No,
so
it was
much
such an
inventive set work on
impressive
that
set.
show.
That was one of the things I was talking
Yeah.
to Shane
Yeah.
about. This is
When you've got, like the bed and that big table and everything, and when you've got no wings,
Yeah.
and sometimes stage right would be good and stage left would be like you're up against the wall and it's like, God, where do we take this stuff? So like with every venue, you have to know as a set, stage left or stage right, what you're going to be having to be in charge of to move. And a lot of times, like with Les Mis, they have to fly it because there's no place else for it, so you have to send it up. And that can be tricky. And we had, the big doors that come, the garage doors, they call them. We had twice, we had the one stage right come off the track.
oh wow.
Yeah, which is super scary because whoever's sitting right in front of that could get smushed. Those doors were not light, they were heavy. Thank God for our stage crew who were just top notch and they were able to get in there and get it fixed before the curtain went back up. It was really...
That show was amazing. There was a lot of crazy business. If you haven't seen it, you guys should see it. There's in To Kill a Mockingbird, the scenes where you guys are sneaking out.
Oh, sneaking around.
You really feel like I do when I watch that, like a kid sneaking out of the house. It really captures that like child wonder of moonlit leaves and stuff.
Yeah.
And boy, did they ever pull that off in the live show.
Isn't it amazing?
Unbelievable.
I was so thrilled with this show, and sometimes we get a chance to go to rehearsals, and it was always so much fun to see my person who was doing DuBose, and actually I had two people that did DuBose, and to see the difference between all three of us, how differently we portrayed that part, because that was during COVID times, and I think all of us came down with COVID at some point or another. I got stuck in Memphis, Tennessee, and they had to leave me there and go to the next stop. And then I think Richard was sick in Memphis as well. It was me and Richard, and there was somebody else who got it because there were three of us. I didn't even know that there were three of us, but the kids were so sweet. They would like bring food and, Mary, there's treats here for you outside your door, So it was great because we really got close, we really, it was so nice. And Richard Thomas is such a pro. Oh my God, he is amazing to work with. And every rehearsal, he's like, trying to make us laugh, but doing silly stuff. You sit there in Tom's testimony and you go, just silly fun stuff that would just keep us all motivated, which was great.
Were the actresses that played Scout, did they play it cool around you, or were you getting quizzed a lot on, should I do it this way?
No, we didn't. No, I left them alone. They were perfect. I didn't even have the inclination to ever say anything to them because they were so brilliant. I didn't need to say anything. And then, like I said, I wouldn't have even thought to say anything to them.
Yeah, I wasn't putting that on you. I was just like, where they come to you for direction and stuff, or is this okay?
Yeah,
So-
no, they never did. And I just felt it was such an honor to work with those guys because they're all so talented.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah.
Question?
I wondered if you mentioned your grandfather wrote a book that had the scene with the clan talking them down by recognizing who they were. Was it father, grandfather?
My dad, yeah. My dad was born, he was 60 years old when I was born. I was born in 1952. And he started off in the cavalry, he heard they were learning to fly in France, or not learning to fly in France, they had an Air Force in France during World War I. Yeah, so he ended up going to France and learning to fly. He soloed in about 45 minutes, and within 3 weeks was teaching other pilots to fly. You guys got to remember, this is back in the days of biplanes when they were made out of canvas and wood, and the live rate was like 10 minutes when he got to France. And my father was able to figure out how to get him up and get him back down on the ground again. Because going up's not too much of a problem, but coming back down, that's a whole different ballgame. So he had, when he was there, the longest live rate of any of the instructors. But they were losing like a pilot a day.
Oh,
Literally,
oh,
a
wow.
pilot a day. And so my father became so valuable when he came back to the U.S. He was doing the same thing, training pilots to fly, and he started the National Guard out in Birmingham. And he's now in the Museum of Flight because he was in World War I, World War II, Korea, and was an advisor on Vietnam. I can remember senators and congressmen coming to the house to talk to my dad, and my dad would get so mad. I came home one day, his face was like the color of you right now. He was burbling, he was so mad. He's like, these damn politicians overseas, let us just do our job. You know? It's like, Daddy, calm down, it's okay.
So there was a book. You wrote a...
My dad wrote a book, yes, and my brothers have written books. My brother Tom has written a number of books.
A literary tradition in the family.
It is.
Follow up with that. Yeah.
And John Badham, my brother, he's written a number of books on directing. He's does everybody know who John Badham is, the director? Yeah.
Did you do Saturday Night Fever?
Saturday Night Fever, Whose Life Is It Anyway, War Games, Sunny Blue Thunder, Bird on a Wire, Bird on a Wire 2. I mean, all these things. He's got a filmography that's as long as this building. And he was teaching at Chapman University, and he's just retired this year. So
There's a movie that Robert Benton wrote and directed called Places in the Heart.
yes,
It has a scene where I think it's John Malkovich is confronted by the Klan in there on horses with the mask. And he goes,
Yeah.
well, Mr. Miller, you, and he starts calling him by name and spooks him off. I wonder if you might have,
He might have
Robert
done.
Benton might have encountered the book at some point.
may have done.
Yeah.
May have done. I have no clue. I don't know.
John Badham could have passed it on to him.
But it would have been, you know, there were so many incidents of that, and even today, unfortunately, that sort of nonsense has started up again, which is deeply saddening for me. But I think one of the things that I would ask you all to do is to educate our children, okay? And I go into high schools, colleges, and universities and talk to the kids. And one of the things that I try and say to them is, ignorance is the root of all evil. Do you believe that? Education is the key to freedom. We have to keep this in mind more than ever right now. We're about this far from losing our country. So I would plead for everyone here to spread the word of education, reading. Please help support our libraries, our teachers. There's a lot of our teachers who are giving of their own finances to help our children to get their education. There are so many homes that I have been in that do not have paper, do not have pencils, do not have books. They don't know how to use a library. And those children need all the help they can get. Just because they're poor doesn't mean they're stupid. Some of my best students have been from extremely poor families. And they just need a lot of love and support, as all children do. So I pray for our children. that about it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that buttons. That was wonderful. Thank you
Thank
so
you all
much.
so
It's an
much
honor.
for coming.